Shalom, everybody. I go by the appellation of Melchizedek Yis-RoyAl. All due praises to the Most High Power, Yahuwah Elohim Zabuat of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Ahiti, the Negroes. For all Negroes all around the world, all due praises be to our Father. May He bestow benediction and gifts upon us. Barakatah. In today's video, we're going into part 6 pertaining to Haiti's history with the Taino, the Arawak, Carib, Examega, the French, Spanish, Portuguese, and all this stuff. The West Atlantic slave trade. Hope you guys watched the first 5 videos first before you got to here. As you know, I go by the appellation of Melchizedek Yis-RoyAl. I am an Haitian Hebrew Israelite. I'm not sure what tribe specifically I am from, but I do know that I am a descendant of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Noah, and Adam. So, with all that said, we're in the 5th day of the week, the 3rd day of the 8th month, called Heshvan or Bull. We're in the 2nd semester of fall right now in the 2nd portal in mid-fall. There's 30 days in this month, 31 days in the next month. According to the devil's time, it's October 20th, 2015. That's what Satan says. And Satan says it's 3:32 p.m. because Yah gave us his clock, which is the sun, star, and moon. So if it's not the sun, star, and moon, then you're keeping track based on the wrong time. And that's why I call it that. So, tout gloire pour bon Dieu nous, Haïti. Yahuwah, Yah avec nous, Yah Haïti, Yah ici, Yah avec nous. Me souhaiter li vini ici, Yah Haïti. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Me souhaiter nous tout enjoy, n'avait distrait nous avec vidéo aujourd'hui. So, before we do begin, I do want to start out with a song, a Creole song. De ben commencer avec un son. I just found it yesterday. I don't know much about the people and nothing like that. Ba konen twap de moun yo, mais moi sound now comprendre li fait me senti ton kou son bout là dans nous perdi. Especially lo gade en l'église chrétien catholique jodia ton kou l'an mort chaque kous l'église. Ton kou moun mouri, ou comprendre pas gen ken joie, ou rien, en liberté, en rien. Lan sa faire. So, m'tan si yo te fait ça pour emprisonner nous, net pour yo te cap décharger force nous. So, yeah, and I feel like the white people had taken this away from us, because when you look into Christian and Catholic churches, they're very boring, very sad, depressing. Praise Jesus. It's like you want to die, like it sounds like that. But when you hear this song, it sounds like a piece of us that been taken from us. Although I don't know what they're saying and stuff like that all the way. I only understand certain parts. But you can still tell that there's something missing in black people's culture, and it may connect to this right here. So they call this root music of the roots. Because all the African tribes that were mixed up in Haiti gathered together to prepare for war against the white man. So check this out. Halaluyahnu. These are Haitians, by the way. Halaluyahnu. Revolutionary music. This is the spirit that helped Ahiti wake up and fight. You go Christian Catholic church, they look like they're dead. Something's missing. Salve ma pale. It's you I'm talking to. And the things on their back is voodoo symbols though. They talk bad about us. They say we won't get up and fight. They think we became white people. False peace. Haiti never had peace by white men. Never. Pays des salines là. Pays tout ça là. Armageddon. Yo parle nous mal. This is like true Haitian music. They talk bad about us. We gotta get them out of here, you know? They're making Haiti look bad. And the stupid Haitians that think they Christian, Catholic, white people. Dogs. I said dogs. Yis-RoyAl. Ese pile na pile yola. Supage so debake yola. De pupaga sola. Hey. Ese pile na pile yola. That's why they don't want us listening to the music so we get stepped on. That's Christian like. We're tired of being stepped on. There gotta be revolution. There gotta be liberty, true peace for all Haitians. Wherever we go, I'll make sure this happens during my lifetime until my death. This is my mission. See, this made them feel liberated, free through the music, through the drum, the beating of the drum, you know? Not like that hip-hop rap junk. That music has no roots in it. This is true music. See, a lot of them is mixed in with Catholic because the Romans brought that in. So they mix Catholic with African stuff with a whole bunch of other stuff. Catholic, without Catholic, there'll be no voodoo. Catholicism brings in voodoo because the images of Catholic. God tell us not to use any images or none of that. And the people use Catholic, the white people's religion, to do magic on people. So Haiti is very unique. You see, it got a mix of all these different religions and stuff, and they created this power to liberate themselves somehow through it, through nature, through what's natural, the trees, the nature, and stuff like that. And they try to tell us it's bad to know who we are, but it's good to be the white man, huh? To worship a God with blue eyes. That's voodoo right there. That Jesus image is voodoo. That image is voodoo because it's a curse on people. They can't get out of it, you know. They think that they shall be saved through an image, and that's a lie. So that right there was from who you just seen. Very cool music. I just ran into it yesterday, and I found it very liberating. You know, I'm not sure what they're saying, but I like some of the parts that I hear. You know. So let's go ahead and begin our lesson for today so we can get this cracking. So the first people we're going to start off with today is with the Nigerians, Nigeria, because they're part of Israel too, and they were brought into Ahiti, even Nigerians and things like that. So let's check this out. So Nigeria are likely Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa. So Nigeria, like nigger, Niger, Niger Black River, like Nile River. So Nigeria are likely Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa. However, also arrived to the current United States Nigerian slaves. So there's slaves from Nigeria, or Negroes that came from Africa that was brought to the United States, called Nigerians. And they may be of Igbo, which is Hebrew, Yoruba, and Hausa. These are Hebrew descents. Either our people were in those places, or our people were from those places. But most likely, I know our people were possibly in those places and not from those places. Like America, you got darks in the place of America, but they're not from America, you see. So I'm not sure if these people are from Nigeria or if they were in Nigeria during the West Atlantic slave trade. So Nigerian slaves of other ethnic groups such as the Fulani and Edo people. So the people of Fulani and Edo are also Nigerian, potentially Igbo. So the Igbo were exported mainly to Maryland and Virginia. So those Igbo Nigerians as well, for Fulani, Edo, Yoruba, and Hausa might be mainly in Maryland and Virginia in America. So place where they were the majority of all slaves. In fact, of 37,000 African slaves that were imported to Virginia from Calabar from the 18th century, 300,000 of them were Igbo. 300,000 of them slaves were Igbo. Potentially Nigeria, Fulani, Edo, Yoruba, or Hausa. You see? 37 African slaves and 7,000 are not Igbo, potentially. So importing Igbo people between other slaves to Kentucky. So they moved the Igbo tribes there to Kentucky too. You'll see a high population of them there. Take note. And there goes Yoruba right here. Yoruba. Yoruba, Edi, Fulani, Yoruba, Niger. There goes Niger River. So let's continue on. Or there goes Igbo right here. Igbo. So you come from this potential area right here. And there goes Nigeria and Hausa. So that they come from this general area in West Africa. So according to some historians, the Igbo were also most of the slaves in Maryland. Although according to others, the most were from Gambia. So a lot said they were from Gambia. And a lot of Igbo were also, there was a lot of Igbo slaves in Maryland, in America. So although according to others, The most were from Gambia. So there goes Fulani, Yoruba, Igbo. This is their whole territory. And that's Niger, Congo, A. Niger, Congo, A. That's why a lot of people say Haitians are from Congo. There's Congo B, Congo, which they also have as Congo B, Bantu, children of Judah. So these right here will be like children of Judah. And Niger A, Congo will be dealing with the Hebrews too. Igbo, Eber, Efer, Africa, and Fulani, and these people. And these up here are Arab, the Berber, Arabic, and all that other stuff. They're not part of us. And they got the Nilo-Saharan, because they had the Saharan slave trade as well, when the Arabians were trading Africans and Israelites into slavery with the Grecian whites. You see, so we were in big problems during that time, big trouble. Madagascar too, like right here, Malagasy is Austronesian. So those people from Madagascar too are were taken into slavery as well as Rwanda. If you heard about the genocide of that, most of them people believed in Christ, Mashiach, Yahusha, and they killed them because of their belief. Especially the voodoo tribes of Africa, which did not like Christ. So they had black, wicked people, evil black people versus righteous black people, you see. That's why we were divided in our continent, because some people believed in voodoo and we believed in God, Yahuwah, you see. And Yahuwah had told us to destroy a lot of these voodoo tribes back then, you see. Now you got the government, the white man, doing these things, and they took over all the power. They're doing the same thing these other people used to do that we used to stop. Now people don't stop them no more because they're Christian and forgot who they are. You know, there's nothing they can say. So this group was characterized by rebellion and its high rate of suicide. So they killed themselves a lot because they did not want to be slaves, trying to challenge the slavery to which they were subjected. So challenge the slavery to which they were subjected. Challenge authority. So some Nigerian ethnic groups, such as the Yoruba, so Yoruba is Nigerian, and some northern Nigerian ethnic groups had tribal facial identification marks. Now in Israel, we don't usually use marks on our face and things like that, but he did say my name will be on their forehead as a mark. But as far as that's spiritual, not literal. You know, we don't do tattoos, we don't put cuttings into our skin, we don't put big old earrings in our ears and gauges in our lips. That's African, that's Hamite. So that's how you can tell who is who and who's not what. So these Nigerians had facial identification marks. These could have assisted a returning slave in relocating his or her ethnic group. That's important. So you can identify who is who, because there's so much cultures in Africa. So but few slaves, few dark-skinned people escaped the colonies. So not much black people escaped. A lot died or committed suicide. So in the colonies, masters tried to dissuade the practice of tribal customs. So the white people discouraged us from practicing our roots. Moun blanc te forcé nous pour suspendre à practicer practice de racine nous, de race nous, de moun nous, de grand-papa nous. They even called it evil. Yo même dit c'est voodoo nous t'a fait n'avait bagay mal les et menti. Yo connaît celle gens nous cap dévoué yo c'est avec force de Dieu. So moun yo di nou piga ou fait ça c'est voodoo, li mal, li pas bon pour ou. Kounya moun vin disassocié avec tête yo ba connaît qui les souye. So the people didn't know who they are because the white man was labeling their practices voodoo and bad things. So the children grew up thinking thinking certain things are bad when that's not true. Certain things are good. And while they're labeling certain things that are good, bad. You see? So what they labeled bad is really good, and what they labeled good is really bad. But I have no stand on that whole thing about voodoo, because I know that's not what helped Haiti. It was Yah that helped Haiti. You see what I'm saying? And through the powers of Yah, and we do sacrifice to Yah in the Leviticus order, potentially they mistaken the Leviticus practices as voodoo. You see, because Abraham used to do sacrifices to God, to Yah, until Christ came. Mashiach came. Now we don't need to sacrifice. You see, we're saved through his name. But that might be what the white man did, to cause us to disassociate with our power and the nature that we used to be connected with. So it's important to keep an open mind when studying your history, because you've been lied to too much to assume that everything is still right or wrong. So keep an open mind and study. So the masters, the white people, that's why they forced us to become Catholic, and then later they forced us to become Christian, and then we forgot everything. Now you got black, stupid Christian people that are Christian and Catholic that hate Haitians, that are still connected to the grandpapas, racines, the roots, the grandfathers, and things like that. They hate God. These black Christians, black Catholics hate God. They hate Yah. They want to be God and take Israel's place, and they cannot. You see? So there's a curse upon those who do that. Gon malédiction sou moun ki ese pou bloke nou pou nou leve. So they also sometimes mix people of different ethnic groups to make it more difficult for them to communicate and band together in rebellion. So te mele an pil nan moun yo tou ki soti Africa, especially Nigeria, group Yoruba. Yo te mele moun noy yo ansam pou nou pa chanje ki les na ki sa. Donc en Haïti, Haïtien pas tout même nation. Même si yo te fait Haïti pour plusieurs générations, parce qu'avant Haïtien te Haïti, te gen Indien rele Teno, Arawak, Carib, net bay kon sa te lan avant nous. Et là yo te fin tiye yo vin entre Africain yo an dan. Et pas seul un groupe africain yo te mette Haïti, et plusieurs groupes africains yo te mette Haïti, yo te commencé mêler yo ensemble pour moun pa connaît qui laisse pour yo pas rebelle. Parce que connaît gen quelques principes moun yo kembe, nous pas kembe en race pa nous. Et pas tout moun en Africa qui kembe même race là. Et pas tout moun en Africa qui gen même racine là. Ou comprendre gon division toujours, même si nous sorti sous même la terre. Mais Haïti, il y a un peu de monde qui pas sorti en même famille, même si on fait Haïti. So peut-être ça, il y a un peu de problème. Nous avons un Haïtien qui pas sorti en même groupe africain, qui marche même moral là, même principe là. Et ça fait que Haïti divisé, il pas cap camper. Parce qu'on qui divisé sous tête, il pas cap camper. Il pas cap parce que les unions qui fait la force, tout ça l'ouverture te gagne bon pensée m'dou. Mais chrétien noir ça yo n'avait catholique cannibal catholique ça yo, moun sont enragés. Yon enragé, yon route là, vous comprenez? Yon route là, yo pas quitter nous grandir, yo pas quitter nous parler ensemble pour nous délivrer, yo pas quitter nous parler conversation libération. Ou comprenez, plaid up lou on zous, donc ou zous pas le sauver, 500 années ou en prison zous pas jamais sauver, moun blanc te entré sous la terre, il te tiré ou comprenez, so bay c'est y a tant pas pas jamais venir. Et moun yo te forcé nous pour quoi l'entente ça yo pour nous kokobe a tant pour ba qui pas pas jamais venir. So Yahusha pas venir, ça c'est justice. So they also sometimes mix people of different ethnic groups to make it more difficult for them to communicate, and band together, assemble in rebellion. Pour goumen moun blanc yo, pa vle wè nou. Moun pa nou pa vle wè nou tout pe na pale libération. Yeah? Nou ele moun say house nigger en anglais avec ER soudanien, ER nigger, ou comprendre house nigger. Ça c'est nigre kai, ou comprendre moun ki reme met esclave là. Ou comprendre y a boubou dal miche tout bagay li net tout ça pour yo kap jonou kras bonbon net dormi at cheval li de yo. pendant le fait kade Jacques tout petit femme la li Bibli al bay lot machwe. Moun yo fou, yo pa kompon, yo pa pral sauver kon sa men. Moun blanc te vina sa pour faire ça sous gomme si. Yo te vlo kokobe parce que Haïti c'est moun qui vle liberté yo c'est moun qui goumen, moun qui gen courage, ne yo ta remen nou pour travail pour yo, ne pas pour Dieu pas nous ndou. Qui pas blanc, noir. Bon Dieu pas noir. Li miel li blanc. Mais poli sous la terre noire. Melanin. So Igbo American, Hebrew American. So main article. So Igbo American or American Igbo American. So Igbo American or Igbo Americans are people in the United States that maintain an identity of a varying level of Igbo people. So pil nan moun Igbo yo te voye yo aux États-Unis. So the Igbo tribe was brought into America. Nigeria was brought into America. Igbo people. Ethnic identity that now call the United States their chief place of residence. Kunya moun sa yo ele aux États-Unis la kayo. Ça c'est pas kaimwe. Kaimwe en Afrika. Haiti, ça c'est kai pam. Ça c'est territory pam. Vous comprenez, pendant que là, mais un territoire ennemi. Faut faire attention. It may also have United States citizenship. So many having come to the United States from Nigeria, the result of slavery in the United States, or the effects of the Nigerian Civil War 1967 to 1970. So it was a 3-year war. Or the Nigerian Biafran War. So in the United States, Igbo slaves, Hebrew slaves, were erroneously referred to by a couple of names corrupted from Igbo, such as Igbo and Igbo, or Ebony, Igbo, Ebony, Igbo, Igbo, Ebony, Iboni. So Yoruba American. So main article. Yoruba American. Yoruba Americans are Americans of Yoruba descent. The Yoruba people, Yoruba, Awan, Omo Yoruba. So Awan, Amo Yoruba, Yoruba, are an ethnic group originating in southwestern Nigeria and southern Benin in West Africa. Benin, they were a voodoo tribe. Benin and Dahomey, vicious. One of the craziest freaking tribes and ethnic groups in Africa is the Benin tribe and Dahomey. They were known for voodoo, and they were known for selling black people too to the white people. They were a sellout like the Moors. Moors aren't our people anyway. Well, they could be. Pardon me. They could be. So southwestern Nigeria, right here, is in southern Benin, because Benin is over here in West Africa. So those people would be known as Yoruba. So Benin is known as Yoruba. Dahomey is known as Yoruba, and these are potentially tribes of Nigeria. You see, Ido, Igbo. So the first Yoruba people who arrived to the United States were imported as slaves from Nigeria and Benin. See, Benin and Nigeria. But that must have been after they sold black people, because there were black people selling black people during the Atlantic slave trade. So this ethnicity of the slaves was one of the main origins of present-day Nigerians who arrived to the United States, along with the Igbo and Hausa. So the Igbo, Hausa, and Nigeria. So in addition, native slaves of current Benin hailed from peoples such as Nago. So native slaves of current Benin, which is southwestern Nigeria, hailed from peoples such as Nago, which is Yoruba subgroup, Although exported mainly by Spanish, so mun Spaniol yo te export mun Benin when Louisiana was Spanish. Wow. Although at a point Louisiana was French. And then it was given to America, to the US, after Toussaint Louverture, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, and Christophe Henry destroyed Napoleon in his kingdoms. So Napoleon withdrew his army. He left Haiti alone because we fought, we war. Not no dumb Christian. We gotta fight, right? Like David, we're Israelite. So children of Judah, the lion, rah. So eventually Napoleon had to forfeit his Louisiana interest to America. So if it wasn't for us, the French would have taken over America as well. We would have been speaking Francais and not English. Thank you very much, sir. Do I look white? I'm African, stupid. Not freaking Christian, Catholic, Goyim, Spanish Christians and Grecian Christians and Roman Catholics. What the hell? Christ was born in Bethlehem, in Judea. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't born in Europe. The people are stupid. That's why I say they're stupid. Not their fault, but because the white man taught the black people to be stupid and to hate himself, to hate herself, to hate yourself, to hate your people. So les nous yon pas cap force parce que nous dessemblés. Ensemble. So although exported mainly by Spanish, when Louisiana was Spanish, so Benin hailed from people such as Nago, Iu, Fan, and Gen. So those are their tribes. Take note. So many of the slaves, the black people, imported to the modern United States from Benin were sold by the king of Dahomey. Oh, so the king of Dahomey was selling his own prisoners, his own people. And Waida is the most embarrassing part of black history, at least their history. It's a shame on their people and culture. A lot of people say this is where Haitians come from, but I don't believe that, because Haiti is filled with different people, and as you can tell, it says that the Benin tribe or the Nigerian tribe or mainly the Yoruba tribe was sent to America, not Haiti. So there's no way that we were. I'm not saying that there ain't some people from Benin and Dahomey and Haiti. If they are, they're the ones who brought Voodoo in there. And then the people from Congo mixed with the people with Dahomey, and all the Africans in Haiti are gathered up together, mad at the white man. That mixes Congo's voodoo, Dahomey's voodoo, and the Catholics' voodoo. You see, so Haiti is a very special place, a very special land, very dangerous, extremely dangerous. There's a lot of magic and witchcraft going on there, and I would watch out if I was you. You know, when you talk bad to a Haitian, you know, because the Haitians are very destructive sometimes. They'll destroy everything in their path. Like, that's why they're afraid of Haiti, because they know we can destroy them with the power of our God, Elohim, Al Shaddai, Yahusha. So the native tongue of the Yoruba people is spoken principally in Nigeria and Benin. So the tongue of the Yoruba people, so they call them in general people from Yoruba, the Yorubians, Yaru, Igbo, Yahuba. So the language of the Yoruba people is spoken principally in Nigeria. So Nigeria speak Yoruban. In Benin, Dahomey speak Yoruban. Yoruba. So with communities in other parts of Africa, Europe, and the Americas. So we're in Africa, Europe, and the Americas. Haiti, Cuba, Puerto Rico, all considered the Americas. You see, the New World. This is what Christopher Columbus sailed to. And when he came, he found Taino, Arawak, Carib Indians on the land, and they were peaceful and loving. And they killed them all. After they killed them all and cut off at a certain point, then they started to import black people into the land where Indians were. The Indians, I believe, were of African descent. Indeed. Because if you think about it, the West is part of West Africa when the continents were one. Look up the word supercontinent, Pangea. So we're in West Africa in America right now. This is technically my land. So a variety of the language, Lukumi. So a variety of the language Lukumi is the liturgical language of the Santeria religion of the Caribbean. So that's Sanskrit or something, but Santeria, a religion of the Caribbean. The Caribbean people, some of them were Arawak people, but a lot of them are what we call cannibals. So instead of calling them cannibals, they call them Caribao. You see, Caribbean, cannibal. You see, Taino, Latino. You see, and the Latino were fighting with the Caribbean, the cannibals a long time ago, and them too killed a lot of they killed a lot of white people too. But the white people killed more of them than they killed white people. That's why the Indians are gone. But the Indians fought. They fought. You know, they did not stop fighting. Black people stopped fighting. You see, and we allowed the white people to build. That's why we're still here. But there was a lot of black people that rebelled, like Ahiti, the first one to have success, and the second one in the earth to have its independence after America, after the white man. The black people in America did not get independence 1776 on 4th July. The white people did. But in Haiti, 1804, January 1st, 1804 was when we became liberated as a black country. And the second people, period, on this earth to have success in rebelling. So they don't want us to rebel again because it works. It works. Think about it. As much as you may hate your people, if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be here today. Have respect unto our ancestors. Gain respect sous ancêtres nous, sous grand-papa nous. Reposez en la paix, tout saint l'ouverti, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Noé, Methuselah, Enoch, Shet, Adam, tout grand-papa mio. Reposez en la paix. Bénédiction sous nous. Peut-être nous te goumé pour nous, net moui pour nous. Malédiction sous moun te kapon yo, qui pas jambes fin pour nous. So Yoruba is most closely related to the Itsekiri language spoken in the Niger Delta, North Nigeria. Itsekiri, and to Igala, spoken in central Nigeria. So Nigeria is a pretty big place, as you can tell, and the language Yoruba is closely related to Itsekiri and Igala, which is spoken in the Niger Delta as well in central Nigeria. Thank you, Yah. Hallelujah. So related ethnic groups, Haitian, West Central Africans, Afro-Argentine. So we got Argentinians we got people in Argentina as well. Not all them people. Afro-Caribbean, the Caribbeans like Trinidad, Barbados, Jamaica, Cuba, Puerto Rico, Santo Domingo, Haiti. You see, these are our places. Africans were brought to those places. So it's not that everyone's there is African. The white people, Spanish mixed with Cuban. Now they speak Espanol. The Spanish people, Spain mixed with the Puerto Rican. Now they Boricua speaking Spanish. You got the French came down to Haiti. Now they speak Creole or Francais. And they think they're French and this is my language. No, it isn't, stupid. And then you got the Spanish people went down to Saint Domingue, to the Dominican Republic, and then they declared their independence there. And now you got like the Africans that speak Dominican, which is Spanish and Creole and things like that. You go to Trinidad, they speak broken down English, I believe, like in Jamaica. They speak patois because the Spanish and the Portuguese had went into Africa and raped them, mixed with them too. So you have white Haitians that don't like black Haitians. You see, we call them Malatu. We are pure blood. You see, so white Haitians do not like black Haitians, and I've witnessed this in Haiti for myself. You see, I've seen white Haitians hate black Haitians. Like, look at that nigger. You see a white Haitian, real Haitian, not white skin, but Grimaud. You see, Grimaud Haïtien, Grimaud Haïtien Quinois. Which are the light skin type or Edomite type of Haitians that hate the black skin Haitians. So there's a bunch of division in all the lands because the white people moved us around. They raped us. They mixed with us. They did not educate us. We couldn't read. We couldn't write. We couldn't learn. They wouldn't let us read the Bible. They persecuted us, whipped us, changed the color of Yahusha to white, and then turned his hair from which is like a sheep, afro, to that of a goat, spaghetti. And then they changed his eye from being red like fire to blue like the sky. And then they have people worshiping a cross, a wood. And they're like, well, God don't mind us if we worship this image. And God don't mind if we worship image. So they worship images and we don't, you see. So there's a lot of fight. We speak Hebraic, they speak dog language. Francais, English, Spanish. That's not our language. That's the language of the dogs, you see. And the same Spanish people too that brought us Spanish are the same ones who brought Christianity. You see? And then you got the Catholics too, which are Roman. So Romans in Spanish, those are dogs. They're not from Bethlehem, Judea, or so they're not from Bethlehem, Bethlehem, nor are they from Judah, the city of King David, where Yahusha was born. You see? And if Christ, Yahusha, or Moses was white, or the Hebrews were white, Pharaoh would have knew that Moses was not of his people, because we know the Egyptians are black and they're Hamite, and the Egyptians were black. So if Pharaoh did not notice Moses in his house for that long, it's because Moses is black. My God is black. To hell with Jesus and Zeus. That's a devil. That's Satan. It's a curse, and whoever worship that name shall burn in hell. And I promise you that. Because we cannot be saved without the name of the Father, Yahuwah, the Son, Yahusha, and the Holy Spirit of truth, Ruach HaKadosh, which the whole world cannot receive because they don't see the truth. And he who keep his word is he who love him. He who don't keep his word and don't preach his word is a devil. So related ethnic groups, Haitian, West Central Africans, Afro-Argentine, Afro-Caribbean, Afro-Chilean, so Chile, we're there too, Afro-Costa Rican, we were brought there too, and we built all these lands ourselves, under force though. So Afro-Cuban, Afro-Dominican, Dominican Republic, Afro-Ecuadorian, I've learned a lot about them yesterday, how the Tainos were there too. Afro-Jamaican, and all the Taino Indians were in all these places before them. Afro-Latin American, by the way, those Taino tribes, Indians, used to make canoes, boats. That's why they were able to travel. They were professional fishers and hunters. They knew how to live in nature. We don't. So Afro-Latin American, Afro-Mexican, Afro-Peruvian, Afro-Puerto Rican, Afro-Trinidadian, Afro-Yugorian. So Yah's gonna come destroy all these people, the white people everywhere, because we're everywhere. What is he gonna do? We're surrounding him more than we know. And there's more of us to rebel against more than them that can kill us. The cost of freedom is blood. So Afro-Yugorian, Creoles, Louisiana Creoles, African American, Afro-Haitians are Haitians of African descent. So African American Afro-Haitians are Haitians of African descent. So these people. So they are mostly the descendants of the African slaves who were brought to the island to work on plantations by the French. So the French brought these people in. Then you got Maryland and all that other stuff. So as of 2013, people of African descent, African seeds, children of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, or him, are the majority ethnic group in Haiti. So accounting for 95% of the country's population. So 95%, 95% moun ki Haiti, c'est africain. Net yo soti lan plusieurs groupes. So sel jon kap konen ki la souye, c'est pour gen un blood test. Faut yo cheke son, ou kompren? Net faut chercher un bon moun pour kab l'île parce que moun blanc pa vo pour konen ki la souye, li kab même di ou soti un pays moun Angleterre, net ou kab égoïste ou stupide, net ou al kwe sal dou la marché di moun e pays Angleterre ou soti. So mais sel jon kap konen c'est pour moun ki kab bien translate sa son ye. Ou kompren pour examiner son, n'avait translate li bien, accurate, ou kompren pour nous kap kompren kote nou soti. Exactement. Parce que 95% moun en Haïti soti Afrika. Puis go j'aime di mou français encore makak. So the majority ethnic group in Haiti are not French, très bon, or Spanish, como estas, or none of that junk. We're African. And we used to fight. And our God is not white or look like a goat. So about 5% of the country is of mixed heritage. So 5% de Haiti moun mele. So 5% are people who are mixed. So mele a se un pile lan rasyo ki vin mele ensemble. Ou kompren pou kreye yon race haïtien. Mais gen lan moun Haiti yo ki pa melat moun même. Ou kompren? Mais gen moun yo te fe kadejak sou yo tout net tout ça pour yo ka forcer un changement en la vie ou net famille ou, mais tout ça pas fait n'oublier qui laisse nous ye. Yo pas cap tourner tout bagay blanc, yo pas cap simer trop l'olangi pour faire cycle là aller. Nous toujours sel qui gagne sel là là-dedans. We're still the salt, we're iodine in it. They try to whitewash us and water us down, but it did not work. We're still here. Nous là. If you know someone like me still exists, a revolutionary, then you know that we're still here. Because real true Haitians are revolutionaries. C'est l'union qui fait la force. Protéger ni l'autre. So having partial African and European ancestry. So là-dedans, c'est africain, mais là avec moun blanc. Grimoyo en Haiti. The light-skinned people in Haiti. Those are a mix of European, just like in Puerto Rico, Cuba, Dominican Republic, what they call it again, not Ecuador, Ugaria. You see a lot of light-skinned people in Costa Rica, Chile, Argentina, in Mexico. You'll see a lot of light-skinned people because they're African and European. So you can look at someone's color and almost judge who they are or know who they are. So en pile nan moun wè grimoa, ki moun haïtien ki blanc yo pas vraiment pure blood haïtien. Yo melat moun blanc, yo gen poison en sang yo. Vous comprenez? Même janton kou Hagar te gen Égyptien là-dedans. N'avait Ishmael te mêlé avec Hébreu, avec Égyptien, mais nous pas cap dormir à Égyptien. So Abraham te voye chien yo ale, ça qui pas Israël yo ale. Li dit Hagar na Ishmael faut yo ale. Ou comprenez, ni pas font l'autre petit avec Sarah. Sarah pas cap fait petit, li te grand moun, bon Dieu te bénil, li te Yahuwah Elohim te bénil, li te dit pas gon petit, so li te ri. So non Isaac vle di li te ri. Ou comprenez, li ri. parce qu'il te ri le bon Dieu te dit li en l'âge li te pral faire petit ne Abraham et Abraham t'a dit dam li ça net ou connaît dam li te gen fidélité il te quoi lan ça te dit mais même les dame Sarah pense qu'il te un petit doublé dit qui tu pral faire petit dans l'âge ça dit Abraham petit mais al dormi chérie ou comprendre so bon Dieu te pas li petit là vraiment le fermer dans li pas yon connaître bon Dieu ya te béni Isaac li pas béni Ishmael so moun Ishmael yo Islam yo fâché sous Isaac petit Abraham net Sarah parce que yo te fait en liberté mais Hagar n'avait Ishmael te fait là dans esclave ouais. So yo pas vle nous pour nous joindre la terre, Jean papa nous te ba nous, Jean te promesse en Bible là, en testament yo, il te testifié. Ouais, moun yo pas comprendre ça là les sac fait malédiction couler sous yo. M'di yo ça même, toujours warn yo men. Faut nous faire attention ça n'a dit moun men, après de dit moun blanc y a sauvé. Qui côté? On les dit bon Dieu te vinn sauver Pharaoh. Come on. Faut moun me lever. Li lè, nous pas gen trop lè, faut nous retourner, repent. So that contains these people so the light-skinned people are mainly African and European. Moun blanc. N'avait Jésus là gen pi pro blanc de moun qui met la Africain European. Côté Jésus là sauté. Pro blanc net. Ça fou. Gel blé net. Mais apocalypse d'où geli rouge. Chevel ton kou monte. N'avait poli semblé marron. Ton kou penny qui brett en soleil là. Ça veut dire noir. Côté moun blanc te kap vivant Africa nous sans boule. Ou quoi ça fait te courir sans wa côté le fret en mont là. Pour retourner là mont là, retourner là cave là, Caucasus Mountain là. Moun yo despectant pour venir en bas, vin di nous bon Dieu nous blanc, n'avait pour nous tendre la sauver nous sans gourmet. Si moun méchant yo fait nous mal, qui te fait nous plus mal, n'a sauvé. Qui Jean? Ça fait Christ yo rouche pour venir sous chevalier ton couteau sans ouverture, il parle gourmet tout king sur la terre. Mais il parle plein à terre sous des faits. Parce que parle venir gourmet avec nous ton coup scène on the sea. Gog n'avec mes Gog. Yo pral un deuxième lan mort. A toute confiance yo bon Dieu pral péter baleine yo. Tout vent pral sorti là dedans yo. Et pas rien, yo das. Ba pe rien. Seul sans pep m'pa obéir. So origins. Haiti slaves come from areas of Africa extending from Senegal to the Congo. So race haïtien sorti en partie Senegal. I don't know if Sierra Leone is part of it. Si c'est Sierra Leone là-dedans tout. Pour jusqu'à ce que Congo. All the way to Congo. So Senegal to the Congo. So pas cap di haïtien c'est un quelques moun son connaissant. Vous comprenez? Mais nous sorti en race ça yo. So most of the slaves came from Central Africa, Congo. Et d'un pile là-dedans haïtien yo ou africain yo qui pense yo haïtien yo sorti Central Africa, Congo. And current Benin, un pile moun di Benin. Il to Yoruba. So yo di yo kab Yoruba ou yo kab Congo. Central Africa, tout ça c'est Nigerian. So other slaves of Haiti seem to stem from the current Senegal, Guyana, imported by the Spanish since the 16th century and then by the French. Sierra Leone, something by vérité, Sierra Leone, Windward Coast, Ghana, the Gold Coast, and South Africa. So gale Haiti plein avec plus moun noir esclave de l'importe l'autre côté. Haiti may be the main place where many African ethnic groups were sent. They really needed them there in Haiti. So that would make Haiti the crown, the headquarter of where Israel is at, the headquarter. Such as people of the Bara tribes, Men of Madagascar. What? So Madagascar people there are there too? The Bara tribes. Et ça fait yo dit tout ça nous te kon fait naturel yo mal. Yo dit voodoo, c'est diable nous yé, c'est moun méchant nous yé, nous sauvage. Menti oui. Si nous te sauvage, les autres entrant pays nous première fois nous t'a mangé yo oui. Nous pas ap bay yo cadeau net ap ri avec yo ap danser. Nous te ri ap moun blanc yo, nous te danser avec yo, nous te montrer yo bagay, nous te montrer yo kay nous te même fait petit nous reconnaître yo. Kounya Christopher Columbus lui-même, seul sal gen en pensel pour voler tout ça li te ouais. Tout ça te ouais jodi al vle voler. Toute loi, tout ça te montrer le côté ou même net femme ou t'a caché ba te gen depuis grand papa là prend yo tout. L'elle fait cadet Jacques sous belle petit là où te gen ou te dit ah mais petit moi a montrer moun blanc petit tout kounal vinn faire cadet Jacques sous l'elle te vinn faire plan. Ouais, moun blanc ça cap dou pour pardonner l'an toujours pendant la pilon non toujours. Combien de temps nous pas le faire à quitter moun yo pile nous? How long? Kounya yal dit nous tout bay nous te fait naturel c'est voodoo et voodoo te sauvé Haïti menti. Nous pas même connaît côté mot ça sorti. Vous comprenez? Moun yo vin à tenten yo net yo vin pini nous pousser yo vin avec. Yo même te vin à bay ça. Là les pont bagay yo dit haïtien plus catholique. Côté catholique te sorti m'dou. Vous comprenez? So si moun te vin à catholique ta te vini, si moun catholique yo pas vin avec se te vini qui laisse nous ta toujours yé. Moun bon nous te toujours yé ya, nous pas connaît voodoo. Et ben te mando encore qui ça te vini avec catholique là te créé voodoo. Moun blanc yo. Exactement. Pas de jambe dit mais romain yo pas moun te vini avec catholique. Pour avoir très stupide ou ça t'a dit ou pas même connaît qui laisse te clouer sauver nous. Ou coquer sauver nous comme yo te coquer sous un fleur yo pas clouer. Yo te coquer sous pied bois Hollywood tree. Hollywood. Un pied bois magique. So the Bara tribes, men of Madagascar, who arrived in Haiti in the 18th century. So history of Haiti, a mid 18th century, the colonial Haiti, because it's been occupied by the whites. Colonial Haiti, occupied by France under a harsh system of slavery, had a population of 300,000 slaves and only 12,000 free people, mainly whites and Malatus, the Mutts. So the struggle for independence in Haiti was developed in several stages. In the first, the great landowners, slaves, traders, and poor whites sympathized with the revolutionary movement that had broken out in the metropolis and formed a local assembly which demanded the end of colonial pact. To get the white people out of here, we assembled. C'est l'union, c'est assemblée qui fait la force. Ou vle mourir ou vle vivre. Ça c'est celle question me ba ou. Ou vle vivant ou vle mourir. So in the second step, the Malatus, free to support the revolution, began metropolitan, thinking that it would get the white residents of the colony full equality of rights for free men regardless of color. So in 1790, white planters repressed claims of the free. In 1790, they wouldn't give us that freedom. So, and they had no choice but to ally with the rebels. So, nous pas gen choix, men pour nous te ensemble avec l'autre moun te vle goumen, l'importe moun te vle goumen. M'ba ki la souye so fait depuis vle goumen nous ensemble. Depuis vle goumen moun blanc yo nous ensemble. M'ba ki so fait, ki jon fait. Faut moun blanc yo aller. L'autre moun yo pas vle goumen avec nous. Na chercher moun qui gen méchant kay yo en ben ya goumen avec nous, goumen moun blanc se retire sur la terre. Ba ki la souye ki koto sorti depuis ou vle liberté, Na ensemble ensemble, na goume ensemble, mon cher avec mon cher. So the August 14, 1791 would have occurred in Bois Cayman ceremony of priest Voudan Boukman. So whatever that means. So they had a priest, obviously probably Levite, Lavi, that would do a ceremony during that time called a Voodoo Boukman, who is considered the starting point of the Haitian Revolution with the music, the carnival music and all that stuff. It awakened the spirit in you. You know, we weren't dead like Christian. Jesus is coming. You know, we were just saying, but you know, we were, you know, alive. You know, so when we went to go fight the white people, we had liberty in our heart. We're pumped up, all that stuff. But I'm not with that whole voodoo stuff. Toussaint Louverture was a Catholic, which is voodoo anyway. Catholic is voodoo. That's why it's black magic. Jesus is Satan, does false miracles. You know, Satan does miracles too. You know, the Bible is actually gonna punish the false prophet and the beast in the end times when his angel Raphael come from the sky with his chain to bind Satan, the beast, and his host. Those who worship the image of the devil. Whatever, the devil got many images. Whatever form you worship, you shall pay for it. Thou shalt not bow down to no idols. So in November of the same year, tens of thousands of slaves revolted. So in 1791, tens of thousands of slaves. That reminds me of the Bible when Yahusha's come with tens and thousands of his angels to execute righteousness upon the ungodly. That's in Jude chapter 1, right before the book of Revelation. So they revolted. Nous te goumè en 1791 en November. So the long process of emancipation was by starring François Dominique Toussaint Louverture, the brave, valiant man, who between 1793 and 1802 led the Haitian Revolution, shrewdly facing Spanish, English, and French, and we killed them and declared our independence. Si nou pa goumen nou ta an lan mor kounya, gen respect pou gran papa net zanzet yo. Ou ba jam chante son national anthem de Haiti, son de republik la, pou nou fè peyi a pi bel net pou nasyon respekte nou. Until his capture, exile, and death in France. In 1803, Jean-Jacques Dessalines finally defeated the French troops in Battle of Verrières. In 1804, Haiti declared independence, proclaiming himself emperor. But Jean-Jacques Dessalines kind of brought us back into slavery, though, because they did not know how to build the economy and all that stuff, so they thought they had to continue slavery to do it. And this is where the ignorance came in. Like, we didn't know what to do once we became free, you know. And that's why Haiti has fell again, because we don't have any leaders and guidance in economical views and stuff like that, economical aspects, thinking about how the people's well-being and can, you know, contribute to the betterment of the country. So now you got the president who received money and never give it to the people. So it's like the people don't have money, they don't have education, they don't have food, they don't have strength, they don't have water. So the white people who work together can come in now and retake Haiti while we're hungry, while we're thirsty, while we're mad at each other, while we're killing each other. This was the reason why Haiti fell. I'm surprised there's not a white president in Haiti right now. That I would, yo. So after the defeat of the French, Haiti was forced to pay compensation to the former mother in exchange for recognition of their independence, which culminated to 1838. So the French government blockade induced the Haitian sugar so that the economy of the small republic was heavily damaged. So they block Haitians from selling sugar, and that's where the main money is coming from, is sugar. So after a popular uprising in the eastern part of the Spanish Dominican Republic in 1821, then under Spanish colonial rule, Haitian troops invaded that country in 1822 and occupied it until it regained its independence in 1844. Fighting against the Dominican, the Spanish. We're fighting with them today. So the great political instability served the United States as a pretext to invade Haiti in 1915. Peut-être raison ça n'a goumat moun Spanyol yo en Saint-Domingue, n'a krabine moun Français yo, n'a moun Anglais yo, n'a Spanyol yo, aux États-Unis vin fâché. Parce que yo te vin voler aux États-Unis, yo tiye Indien yo mene moun wala, yo pa ve Haitien yo nan Haiti vin influence moun yo, nigger yo aux États-Unis, parce que yo ta goumen aux États-Unis. Moun yo aux États-Unis poko goumen, ou kompren mwen? Yo poko goumen, ou kompren ton kou Haiti. An gen lan moun te goumen, mais yo ni mouri, mais en Haiti nou te goumen nou viv, ouais? So yo pa vle, so moun aux États-Unis yo, le yo te wè nou tap goumat moun Spanyol yo, 1915, ça c'est là aux États-Unis te entre li occupé Haïti. Ouais, ton kou UN là. Et ça fait yo là kounya, nous en même situation nous te longtemps, ça veut dire pas rien nouveau en bas soleil là, faut nous tirer yo, net déporter yo en pays nous, même gens nous te fait longtemps, même gens te travail là. Nous te premier exemple de bail ça men. Pour ça nous perd kounya. Nous gain l'esprit de capon. Jésus tellement fort capon net kokobe comme ça, oublier mounou, oublier race, oublier koto soti, oublier ou esclave, oublier ces moun blanc li même à jeble à te vin pour l'enterre, n'avait volé en votre maman pour sauter en mes papa, kounya pas connaître tout, kounya rayi tout. Et moun blanc même si loué en l'église chrétienne catholique Zeus, ça sont ennemis d'Israël, ça sont ennemis de Yahuwah, ça sont ennemis de Yah. Qu'est-ce que Yah? Haiti. Et pas qu'en voodoo te ba nous liberté parce que moun catholique yo même te vinat ça, n'avait si Satan t'a goumé Satan t'a tiré tête li parce qu'on kay divisé pas cap camper. Ça veut dire nous te petit bon Dieu a gouma petit Satan, ne bon Dieu te fait petit Satan quitter terre. So pi go quitter moun yo di diable nous te ne et moun nous t'a mangé, pe le te en train Haïti nous t'a mangé yo. Nous t'a mangé yo vont te multiplier. Ouais. So and thus exert absolute control until 1934. So pour 18 années aux États-Unis t'es en Haïti. So for like 18 years, the United States occupied Haiti. Yo ta fait kadejak sous femme nous net tout ça, bâti quelque côté, yo un gouvernement nous a changer république nous, changer loi nous, bagay yo drôle. Qui est-ce qui cap ranger? Nous même ensemble. C'est les unions qui fait la force. Nous t'es exemple ça longtemps. Fidélité sans travail, c'est fidélité la mort. Vous comprenez? Ou d'où quoi? Ou d'où pas peur? Ou d'où gain courage? Ou d'où bon Dieu avant koto? Pour ça pas camp pour goumen pour nous. Ouais, même Christ pas peur pour te tirer parce qu'il connaît pas le plus grand. Ouais. L'elle vini kounyal pas vini pour goumen, pas pour vini à grâce, il pas pour sauver qu'un chrétien catholique moun blanc, ça yo c'est chien. Net yo gade nous même comme chien. Mais bon Dieu dit c'est yo même qui chien, ouais. Yo dit nous même qui bête là, mais bon Dieu dit yo même qui bête là. Yo dit terre pour yo, mais bon Dieu dit terre pour nous. Vous comprenez? Yo dit langue pa yo, c'est langue pa nous. Bon Dieu dit c'est langue pa nous, Hebraic qui langue pa nous. Ouais? Si yo change un pile bagay, net yo vin faire nous tirer ni l'autre, ton coup rouge goumé bleu, Bloods and Crips, you know, à gauche goumé à droite. Net yo tout noir. Pendant moun blanc marché li bien à l'aise, il a chita sous chaise là. Il est tête li king, emperor, président, bon Dieu. In God they trust, huh? On dog you trust. So the costs and benefits of Haiti's independence had been the following: the abolition of slavery in 1789, the foundation of the Haitian state in 1804. So République Haïti a été fait en 1804, 1844 or 1804. So many plantations were assigned to black generals, causing great discontent among the former slaves. So white masters were exterminated. They tiye tout met blanc net, kokeo, coupe tête yo, tout bagay. Nou te fè même se yo te fè nou. Or driven from the country for what it is inhabited and ruled by blacks and mulattoes, and the whites that sided with the revolution. So there were whites that helped us too. Te gen moun blanc te meme de nou too. Sa yo pa dou twop de moun blanc yo, navet non yo, moun blanc te goumen pre nou pou revolution nou. Parce que te bouke at wè nou esclave, yo te bouke at wè moun blanc yo traite nou mal. KKK, redneck, tout moun sa yo, ouais? Nou bal tiye yo anko. Lem dou tiye, am dou tiye. Parce que justice pou tiye krim. Net sou pa tiye krim, sa vle dou gen ke pou krim ou son malfekte. Sou gen ke pou krim. Ba gen ke pou krim, gen ke pou justice. Justice tiye krim, krim tiye justice. Krim net justice pa kap vivan menm kay. Ki le sou avek. Ou vle vive ou vle mourir. So the plantation economy, without a living in slavery, falls abruptly, being replaced mostly by subsistence African-style Haiti, suffered a long period of international isolation promoted by the European powers. So they déconnecté nous pour nous pas gain business avec moun international yo. Ou comprend que UN. Je pas reconnaître nous comme une nation kounya parce que moun Européen te dit pi ka yo fait contrat avec nous. Ouais. Peut-être ça Haïti te vin pauvre, li te commencé perdre un pile bagay, yo pas quitter nous 26 net bay comme ça. So les nous vin faible et laisse ça moun blanc yo vini encore. Especially les moun haïtiens yo te blié révolution n'avait été commencé pour esclave nous encore. Et presque nous te goumen pour venir indépendant pour n'était pas indépendant ou quelque là encore. Parce que Boyer. So President Boyer. So who did not admit the existence of a nation ruled by former slaves? So they did not recognize Haiti like they don't recognize Israel. So implying a threat to its own slave systems. Wow. So in addition to the Haitian revolution had an impact on the whole area of the Caribbean, of the Carib. So dealing a blow to the slave system prevailing in the region. The following events reflected the struggle between political and economic elites and the impoverished masses. So in 1957 was elected as president François Duvalier, popularly known as Papa Doc, who ruled dictatorially like martial law, a dictator, with financial and military aid, United States, and in 1964 proclaimed himself president lifetime. So with financial and military aid, United States, and in 1964 proclaimed himself president lifetime. So his son Jean-Claude Duvalier, Baby Doc, happened in 1971. So in January 1986, popular uprising forced him into exile, and the army took control of the power through the formation of a national government. led by General Henry Nafi. So they destroyed Haiti again. And they're still destroying Haiti until we stop it. Stop it. Sauver Haiti. Pour respecter nous. Pour payer nous plus belle. Kembe d'apo nou wo. Kembe men la men. Mettez men nou net tête nous ensemble. Travailler pour liberté nous. Fidélité sans travail, c'est fidélité la mort. Je vérifie. Amen. C'est là. In January 1988, became President Leslie Francois Manigat. So President Leslie Francois Manigat, but was deposed in July of the same year by Namfi, by General Henry Nafi. So who overthrew Prosper Avil? Prosper Avil. So président en Haïti, commencé goumen président en Haïti, assassiné net tout bay ça, Haïti vin double. Li mouri là, soujou sal mouri. Parce que nous vin diviser sous tête nous. Nan un kay qui pas ensemble ou qui pas gen les unions tomber. Bal toujours dit nous ça parce que moi n'a servi Beelzebub, net nous penser et nous penser li pral camper pendant le déviser. Pendant le déviser sous tête li pral tomber. Faut nous louer ya parce que ya qui cabinet Beelzebub, qui te Beelzebub fâché sous tête li net Zeus net tout moun li. Rebuke yon no ya qui met vite en place de condamnation, un défait à bouler pour éternité, fire and brimstone, la bana ash. So after an interim presidency, Erta Pascal Trolliot, deposed by a coup, Jean-Bertrand Aristide, was elected president from February 1991. I remember when they ran him out. Also being deposed after a serious crisis internal in the 2004, Bill Clinton and them ran him out. They ran him out. Literally, they took him illegally and dropped him off in Africa. You can't do that. So they replaced him with, during that time I was in Haiti somewhat, with Boniface. Evil people, man. Evil. They don't love Haiti. They working with the white man. Président aujourd'hui a travaillé avec moun blanc yo kounya pour esclave nous. Yo pa gen vision tout sant l'ouverti jou sa yo, or vision Christ. Yahushua HaMashiach. Vision yo noir. So which included violent episodes, Chimère, Lavalas, culminating in the occupation of Haiti by the Blue Helmets, which is the United Nations, because they're the ones who ran Aristide out through Bill Clinton, George Bush, and now Obama. And violent episodes is rebellion, Chimère, Lavalas, and things like that. Freedom fighters. Because what they did was illegal. So in 2006, René Préval was elected president. René Préval. General elections were scheduled for January 2010, but were postponed due to the earthquake, which probably put him under martial law. And the earthquake too, as you know, the white people created that in Haiti. 13 earthquakes using HAARP. AARP. So it's celebrated the November 28th, 2010. So the leading candidates were Merlande Manigat and the official Jude Celestine being in third place. So I don't really care about all this stuff, but so this elicited an electoral crisis. It is alleged that the government candidate Celestine had been favored by a fraud committed by the government. In the balance books, the ballet, the voting. So Celestine eventually desisted from continuing in the race. In the presidential runoff between Michel Martelly and Mirlande Manigat was elected Martelly. So I don't really care about this right here. I'm going to put this right here. That's up to date. So we don't really need to read all this either. So other groups within Haiti are like Western European, French, German, Polish, Portuguese, and Spanish. Those people are in our land. So also Arab, Armenian, and Jewish origin. Maybe fake Jews, maybe real us. So I don't know if this is true, but we'll continue to read. So an important cultural practice in Haiti is Haitian voodoo. So although this probably originated in Benin, there are strong elements added of the Congo of Central Africa and the Igbo of Nigeria. It's a unique mix. Although many African nations are represented in the liturgy of Service Loi, we should be serving Yah. So a generally ignored but significant element is that of the Taino indigenous, because them two did something similar to that too. The Taino indigenous in the Arawak and the Caribs in that land, venerated as the indigenous people of the island, now known as Hispaniola. So all that is mixed there. So the Haitians priestlyhood is the most craziest one, especially because they're children of slaves and they have to awaken the spirit of their ancestors again. You see? So the Tainos were influential on the belief system of Haitian voodoo, especially in the Petro cult, a religious group with no counterpart on the African continent. Wow. The Petro cult. So characterized by the worship of the Loa, which is idols, or whatever that means. The sect has influences from Native American folklore, Zemis. I don't know what that means. So the entire northern area of Haiti is influenced by the practices of the Congo. Northern area. That's why most people believe we're from Congo. And the north are often called Rito Congo or Lemba. Oh, dip. The Lemba tribe is from Africa too, and they are the priesthood of Israel, the Lemba. So Rito Congo or Lemba. In the south, the Congo influence is called Petwo, which is petrol, like petroleum. So many Loa have a Congolese origin. As Basimbi. So Lemba, the Lemba tribe, etc. So Lemba, wow. So we are potentially the priests of Israel, the children of Lavi. It will explain why I am a seer or a visionary. So next to the Catholic marriage, polygamy persists. The dances in some forms of recreation tie in with African activities of this nature. So Catholic and all that mix into voodoo. Christianity too. And they do believe in Jesus. That's crazy, right? I don't know how they do that. How you use Jesus for voodoo? Because he's Satan. That makes no sense. Like, Yeah, that's what they do. So the images that you worship is Satan. Those images, Mary and Zeus, Jesus, Hova, ruin, game over, over. So next to the Catholic marriage, polygyny persists. The dances and some forms of recreation tie in with African activities of this nature. So the preparation of the beans is done in the style of Western Africa. The preparation of the beans. Je vais préparer poyo. Fait ton coup j'en fait en West Africa. So wow. So popular literature retains fables in other forms that are expressed in the vernacular. So pecuniary economic activities are typical of Western culture. Clothing tends to be European, but the scarf worn by women over the head is typically of throughout West Africa. The voodoo or religious ceremony from Dahomey, which allows communications with supernatural beings existing alongside Catholic worship via TV. In other words, culture, religion, and social organization are the result Haitian, a process of syncretism French and African, mainly Dahomey Nigerian. Which was interrupted by the freeing of slaves. So at home they speak two languages. French is known by about 42% of the population, consisting of a minority of Malatus and blacks, and Port-au-Prince and other cities. The Creole is a language which with dialectal forms in different regions. Different forms of Creole, which is spoken throughout the country level, but it used exclusively in rural areas. So the music of Haiti is heavily influenced by the rhythms came from Africa with the slaves, like the music we heard in the beginning. That's what's missing in the church, is us, our roots, our beliefs, our traditions, and are part of the rich spiritual and religious life of Haitians. So Haitians are spiritual children, and they call it religious. So two of them come directly from there, the harbor and the Congo. A third rhythm is born on the island during the colonial era, the Petro. All are part of the rhythms used in voodoo ceremonies. Of these rhythms has led a musical style that, despite being closely related to religion, has become popular and has become a kind of folk music. The racine, which means the roots, where percussion is the most important musical instrument. So we also find other types of music which arises spontaneously from people with instruments built by themselves. The troubadour musical style that has endured to this day, with accommodations at different times. Currently, the music that you hear on Haiti's compas a very nice pace, a little softer than the merengue, and adapts Congo rhythms with European and Caribbean influences later, as compa. Déposez compa. So compa is the most current version of this rhythm. So I don't need all this stuff. So the word Creole is of Latin origin via a Portuguese term that means person, especially a servant, raised in one's house. House of Israel. So it first referred to Europeans born and raised in overseas colonies, but later was used to refer to the language as well. Oh, so Creole might be a mix of Portuguese and African dialect and a bunch of other stuff. So everything been mixed in. So it is Creole language based largely on 18th century French with influences from Portuguese, Spanish, Teno, and West African languages. That's Creole. So Haitian Creole emerged from contact between French settlers and African slaves during the Atlantic slave trade in the French colony of Saint-Domingue, now the Republic of Haiti. Saint-Domingue. So as of 2008, Haitians were the largest Creole speaking community in the world. So Haiti is very special for many, many reasons. So many African slaves in French ownership were from the Niger-Congo territory, and particularly from Kwa, Gebi, and Akan, and Bantu, children of Judah language family areas, which mean we're potentially Israelites. So he also presents documents indicating a large number of these slaves were sent to French colonies. That's why we built France too. Singler suggests that the number of Bantu speakers decrease while the number of Kwa speakers increase, with Gebi being the most dominant group. So the most widely spoken Niger-Congo languages by number of native speakers are Yoruba, Igbo, Fula, Shona, and Zulu. These are Nigerian people. So the most widely spoken by total numbers of speakers is Swahili. This is all important information. Kone kilesuye, kone rasinu, kone rasu, kone munu, kone hiswo. Know how far you came. Son bel bagay pou kone kilesuye. Kisa pitit ou pal di pitit yo le yo pa kone kilesuye, yo pa kone lang yo. I'm white, I'm American, I'm French. E sota e metan dan gravu? No. Da kriye. Fo pitit men kone kilesuye, net fom fe pitit qui semble ton koum. So let's continue on. So contractive levels of tone in some Niger-Congo languages. So HL diula, HL diola, ladiola, bambara, maninka, Temni, Dogan, Dagbani, Gibaya, Efik, Lingala, M. Yakuba. So M.L. Malayakuba, Nafanra, Kashem, Banda, Yoruba, Jokan, Dagmi, Yukoben, Akan, Anyi, Iu, Igbo. We also have the THML, Lagaban, Wob, Manozo, Manzombo, Egide, Mambila, Font. And there's the Bashuku or Shuku, Benu Congo, Bashuku, Benu Congo, Dansanta, Mande, Enpa, Mandinka, Senegambia, Fula, Wolof, Kim Wananon, Swahili. So those are the languages. Ça c'est langue moun ki soti Nigeria, Congo te pale. Moun sa yo. So nou gen pil nan bay sa yo mele avet sa nou pale a, an pil bagay. What? Man. La manti moun yo ba nou pou tro long. So major clades. So the traditional branches and major languages of the Niger-Congo family are Kordofanian languages, spoken in southern central Sudan, around the Nuba Mountains, not a single family. Mandi, spoken in West Africa, includes Bambara, the main language spoken in Mali, as well as Soniki, a language spoken mainly in Mali, but also in Senegal and Mauritania. So the evidence linking Mande to Niger-Congo is thin. So Blanche regards it as an early branch that diverged before the morphology characteristic of most of Niger-Congo developed, which de Mendel 2008 argues that for now it is best considered an independent family. So Ijod in Nigeria, including Ijo and Defaka. So Dogon, spoken in Mali, Dogon, where the dog star come from, the worship of dog, Dogon, God. The evidence linking Dogon to Niger, Congo, wow, is weak. So linking Dogon to Niger, Congo is weak. So Atlantic includes Wolof, spoken in Senegal and Fula, a language spoken across the Sahel. So alright, so Kru, spoken in West Africa, include Bete, Nayabwa, and Dida, West Africa. Senufo, spoken in Ivory Coast in Mali, with a geographical outlier in Ghana, and including Sanari and Superior. So languages such as Moor and Burkina Faso, Adamawa languages, languages such as Moor and Burkina Faso, Adamawa languages such as Kamba, Liko in Cameroon. So Ubangi languages such as Sango in the Central African Republic. So Olson 2006 so demonstrated that the evidence linking Ubangian to Niger Congo is weak, and de Mendel went so far as to exclude Ubangian from Niger Congo. Kwa includes Akan, spoken in Ghana, Volta, Niger, which is West Benue, Congo, including the Gebi languages spoken in Ghana, Togo, Benin, and Nigeria, of which U is best known. So it's going to be important to study these people to figure out who's who, what's what, who went where, and all that. I feel like this is the study of the lost 12 tribes. This is the study of the lost children of Africa that went missing one day all of a sudden. So the Yoruba and Igbo languages spoken in Nigeria, East Benue, Congo, including the very large Bantu family with Swahili, Fang, Congo, Zulu, and many other languages of Central and Southern Africa. So some linguists consider the 20 or so Kordofanian languages to form part of the Niger-Congo family, while others consider them and Niger-Congo to form two separate branches of a Niger Korodafian language family, and yet others do not accept Kordofanian as a single group. So Senufu has been placed traditionally with Gur, but is now usually considered an early offshoot from Atlantic Congo. So however, Roger Blanche believes that Adamawa and Ubangian, Kwa, Bantoid, and Bantu are not coherent groups. So that the Laal, Mepwe, and Jala languages are often linked with Niger-Congo, but have yet to be exclusively identified. Or conclusively classified. So the etymology of the word Ghana means warrior's king, and was the title accorded to the kings of the medieval Ghana Empire in West Africa. Although this empire was further north than the modern day country of Ghana and Guinea region. So the name Ghana was a possible source of the name Guiana or Guiana via French Guanoyi, used to refer to the West African coast off Ghana as in Gulf of Guiana. West African coast of Ghana, the Gold Coast. So Ghana was adopted as the legal name for the area, comprising containing four separate parts, which immediately before independence enjoyed distinct constitutional positions. So the colony of the Gold Coast, the colony of the Ashanti, the protectorate of the Northern Territories, and the trust territory of Togoland under British administration. The colony of Ashanti. So the minister responsible for shepherding through the independence legislation, Charles Arden Clark, Lord Listowel, explained that the name was chosen in accordance with local wishes. So the etymology of the word Ghana means warrior's king, and was the title accorded to the kings of the medieval Ghana Empire in West Africa. So we got this, we read that. So some important branches of the Volta, Niger, and Benue Congo families are concentrated in Nigeria, Cameroon, and Benin. So the Volta Niger family of languages, also known as West Benue, Congo, or Iskwa, is one of the branches of the Niger-Congo language family, with perhaps 50 million speakers. Among these are the most important languages of southern Nigeria, Benin, Togo, and southeast Ghana. So Yoruba, Igbo, Beni, Fon, and U. So the constituent groups of the Volta Niger family, along with the most important languages in terms of number of speakers, are as follows, with number of languages for each branch in parentheses. So the Volta Niger, Akpes, Ayer, Ahan, Gebi, Fan, and U. So Gebi or Gibi. So Yea, Yoruboid, Igala, Yoruba. I don't know if this one's something, but we'll keep that there for now. Edoid, Ido, Beni, Akoko, Igbo, Noa, Noi, Nupoid, Ebira, Nup, Oko, Idomoid, Idoma, Mame Idume, Avidom, Ukan, or they got a question mark next to it. What if it's not? So the term triangular trade also refers to a variety of other trades. A trade pattern which evolved before the American Revolutionary War between Great Britain, the colonies of British North America, and British colonies in the Caribbean. So this typically involved exporting raw resources such as fish, especially salt cod, agricultural produce of lumber. So agricultural produce or lumber from British North American colonies to slaves and planters in the West Indies. So to slaves and planters in the West Indies, such as fish, exporting raw resources such as fish, especially salt cod, agricultural produce like fruits and vegetables and all that, or lumber, wood. From British North American colonies like New York to slaves and planters in the West Indies. So sugar and molasses from the Caribbean, and various manufactured commodities from Great Britain. So the shipment of Newfoundland salt, cod, and corn from Boston in British vessels to the shipment of Newfoundland salt, cod, and corn from Boston in British vessels to Southern Europe. It's crazy. I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts, born and raised. So this also included the shipment of wine and olive oil to Britain. So these were the things that they were moving around and selling and trading. A new sugar triangle developed in the 1820s and 1830s, whereby American ships took local produce to Cuba, then brought sugar or coffee from Cuba to the Baltic coast, Russian Empire, and Sweden. So yeah, they're in it too. So then bar iron and hemp back to New England. Hemp, bar iron, and hemp, which is marijuana ropes. So African origins of Haitians, indigenous people. The name Haiti was indeed from the indigenous people who cultivated the land. So the name Ahiti simply means land of the mountain, because the island is surrounded by great landscapes and mountains. So, however, Columbus took it upon himself, as well as the other colonial explorers, to rename the island several times. One of the several names was Hispaniola, because the land reminded Columbus of Spain. So he called it Little Spain. Hispaniola, Little Spaniola. So the French secondly called the island Saint-Domingue. Now you know where the names came from. The first peoples to arrive in Cuba, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic are believed to have come from the Yucatan Peninsula or from other areas of Central America. So these individuals were known as the Carib and the Taino. Being as it may, after most of the indigenous people started to die from smallpox and malaria, the colonials took the initial one, replacing them with Africans. The Africans who came from Africa into Haiti were mainly from the Bight of Benin, Nigeria, and things like that, Congo. So the Republic of Benin was known as part of the Dahomey Kingdom. So Dahomey was a powerful kingdom in the west part of Africa until it was taken over from 1894 to 1960 by the French. So however, before the French took over completely, the French were already buying slaves, trading for slaves, and shipping them into the Caribbean to be used as slaves. Dahomey was organized for war, not only to expand his boundaries, but also to take captives as slaves. That's what they used to do. They used to do it with Negroes too. I don't think all Haitians are Dahomey though. So therefore, slavery was nothing new to the locals in the Dahomey Kingdom. However, the treatment of slaves in the New World was very much different compared in Africa. Slavery, most Africans, as the famous Aluada or Alauda Equano. So Alauda Equano would write that sometimes indeed we sold slaves, but they were only prisoners of war, or such among us as had been convicted of kidnapping or adultery and some other crimes which we esteemed heinous. Page 42 of his book. So this is to simply state that most Africans brought to the New World were all of mixed tribes. So however, as most scholars would note, most Africans brought to Haiti were of the Yoruba people in Benin. However, this is due to the Dahomey Kingdom conquered territories which were assimilated through intermarriage, uniform laws, and a common tradition of enmity to the Yoruba. So the non-Yoruba Africans came from the Congo and Angola. The non-Yoruba Africans came from Congo and Angola, with most coming from the region in which the Congo people reside. So be mindful that the Congo and Angola people were also intermingled with the Yoruba people. So the Congo and Angola people were intermingled with the Yoruba people. Hold on 1 second there, ones. It's like they had us enslaved under these people too right here. The Islam. And I will be getting into that in our next series and stuff. We only got like 1 or 2 videos left, so it's like this right here. The Arabians enslaved us too during that time. That's where we get that whole Islam, Muslim, Moorish bullcrap from. So in other words, the Yoruba people were all over the west part of Africa. So if anything, they were considered to be the largest group of people in the west parts of Africa. So although Haitian descendants come from the same continent, some of the Africans in Haiti were very much from different parts of Africa. Furthermore, mixing the different African tribes with each other was a tactic used by the French as well as the other Europeans to keep Africans from revolting or rebelling. So that's the reason why they mixed this up there, and to keep us from revolting and things like that, and to make us confused later on in the future like today. So it was used as a tactic, even raping us and things like that, and saying it's okay for blacks and whites to be together, like Lamar Odom and that girl Khloe Kardashian, Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, and you got, Tiger Woods with white women, Michael Jordan with white women, OJ Simpson with white women. They do that to mess you up, That's like Hagar and Abraham again, Gotta tell that girl to leave, and the kid, they gotta go. They're not of our family, Sarah. So for example, if all spoke the same language, there would be a higher chance in communicating and revolting. If all spoke the same language there. So people didn't speak the same language. So as opposed to those who spoke a different language, and possible conflicts already from being in different tribes, because we didn't intermingle with other tribes and we're from different tribes, would create chaos, which gave the European the advantages in control of the Africans, because we weren't Africans, not all of us. Some of us were Israelite who believed in light, and some of the people of Hamite believed in the devil. So they mixed Shem and Ham together to confuse us, and brought some of us into Japheth's land, and confusion broke loose. Babel. So religion, however, out of this chaos come a people that did begin to understand each other. So religion played a major fact in gathering the Africans together in unison, like Christian, Catholic, and stuff like that. Islam. One of the more popular religion was Voodoo, which represents a rich blending of numerous African religions, including the Fan, Yoruba, and Bakongo. So Voodoo can be directly traced to the West African Yoruba people who lived in the 18th and 19th century Dahomey. So most of them people were Yorubian. So hold on, let me put that there real quick. Alright, that's good. So its roots may go back to years in Africa, in parts today known as Togo, Benin, and Nigeria. So that's where Voodoo at least came from, although some of the tribes in Haiti came from many places. So the Africans from these occupied places, once shipped out of their own regions, brought their religion with them once they reached the West Indies. So Yoruba people were found throughout the Francophone, the Francophone Caribbean, including Louisiana and Trinidad, where French planters moved after the uprising in Saint-Domingue in the 1790s. So we caused the move around. So the Catholic belief was very much incorporated as well. See? Because most slaves, if not all, were forced to be baptized into Christianity. That is Catholicism. However, the Africans secretly merged their religious background with the Catholic belief system, with the Bible, with the Christian book. For example, there are a number of points of similarity between Roman Catholicism and Voodoo. So similarities between it. So Catholics do practice voodoo. That's the whole point of them using Catholicism to do what they do. And look at, these are all white people. Look how they all look the same. One's Persian, one's white, one's Arab, one's white. And they all look the same. Can't tell the Arab from them because they all blended. And Arab means a mix, a mutt, like Mecca. So the Loa resembled Christian saints. So the Loa, the idols like Jesus and Mary and St. Peter's and Paul and things like that, those were called Loas, gods, resembled Christian saints in that they were once people who led exceptional lives and are usually given a single responsibility or special attribute, and both believe in the supreme being. So they both believe in the supreme being, like Christians worship images and all that stuff. So impact in United States history. So Haitians have played a part in the history of the United States. For example, Jean-Baptiste Pointe de Sableux was the founder of Chicago. So although Chicago was not chartered as a city until 1837, its founding took place many years before, when Du Sableux opened his trading post beside the Chicago River. So from this humble start came an important city, and Du Sableux's life there in its early days is an important part of that heritage. These are Arabians enslaving Africans, Islam, ISIS, all that, like they did with Ethiopia. I hate Islam more than Christianity and Catholicism. So another example is Henry Christophe, who participated in the American Revolutionary War in the French contingent. I did not know that. As a sergeant, he was among the 545 Haitian free Negroes known as the Fontage Legion. The Fontage Legion. So fighting to make men in another country free from oppression created a thirst for freedom within Christophe. Once Haiti gained its independence, Napoleon's plan collapsed, forcing French troops to return defeated to France and preventing them from reaching their ultimate destination, Louisiana, and from being able to defend it. So they had to sell it. So as Napoleon's New World Empire, New World Order, disintegrated, the loss of Haiti made Louisiana unnecessary. In doing so, the French had decided to sell Louisiana to America for $11,250 billion and assumed claims of its own citizens against France up to $3,750 million for a total purchase price of $15 million. And they used their own citizens, the people of America, their faith and credit. That's why we're going into debt in America, just in case the Americans didn't let you know. And that's what caused us to be in national debt. And we've been pledged for that debt through the birth certificate and social during those times. So roles of men and women influenced by African culture. It is without a doubt that the African culture still exists in Haiti. Haitian women still have a strong family leadership in the family bond. Hallelujah. As did their women ancestors. They still carry a strong foundation and are ready to protect the family by any circumstances. So their ancestral women were not only in charge of keeping a strong family bound, like the Bible said, but were also trained to go in combat in the case of war to protect the homeland. That's the one thing scripture tells us: women and children don't go to war. So therefore, Haitian women still hold the strength of the family bond, even if it means till death. So as for the men, they were warriors besides the normal farming life in Africa. The African ancestry of Haitian proves to show that the Dahomey people were known as great warriors in combat. Wow. So this is shown throughout their abilities in overthrowing the French out of Haiti to claim their independence. In doing so, this shows not only that they were warriors, but to have faced the greatest General Napoleon army, you had to have had some of intelligence based on the art of war. So even before the 1791 battle, the Haitians' African ancestors proved their level of skills side to side with the Americans in Georgia, Savannah, defeating the British in a war that helped gain America its own independence. So moun noir, Haitien, Africain te aidé aux États-Unis battre la guerre yo goumen moun blanc yo tout. Pour aux États-Unis te déclarer indépendance yo. So nous te aidé aux États-Unis. So we helped America gain their independence. Nous te aidé aux États-Unis sous Juillet or Juillet 4, July 4th, 1776. 1776, pardon, 1776, 1776. So, and we prove that we're better than the whites, side to side with the Americans in Georgia, Savannah, defeating the British in a war that helped gain America its own independence. So therefore, the Haitian men knew their place as the ideal protectors of the whole family, just like the women. So we have noticed after the indigenous people died from multiple foreign diseases, the Africans who came through slavery have implemented their culture, religion, and tradition in the island as we know today as Haiti. Important things to know. So although most of the Africans who came to Haiti were forcefully treated like slaves in the beginning, they were able to keep their tradition throughout the centuries. So in doing so, the people of Haiti, being Haitian, are very well aware of their cultural backgrounds and roots. Africa has influence on many of the Haitian traditions, including paintings, dance, music, food, the language Creole, and the spiritual belief system in the island we love to call Haiti. So the mix of natives and Africans is what creates everything that we have today. Language, arts, everything. Everything. Dance, everything. So Henry, so these are Arabians by the way. Ça c'est moun Arab, Petit Ishmael, children of Ishmael. Some of them are Edomite, which mean they're mixed, they're mutts with the whites, the Philistines, when during the Brass Age, Greece, and the Iron Age, Rome. So they mixed with them, made Philistines and all these Muslims everywhere. The Ottoman Empire, Jihad, Sharia law, Caliphate. And they're the ones who's coming right now. They are the Babylon today. So Henry, by the grace of Yah and constitutional law of the state, king of Haiti, sovereign of Tortuga. So Gonavi. Hold on one second, guys. I'm being interrupted. Hold on one. Alright, pardon me about that. I had a brief interruption. So Henry, by the grace of Yah and constitutional law of the state, king of Haiti, sovereign of Tortuga, Gonavi, and other adjacent islands, destroyer of tyranny, regenerator and benefactor of the Haitian nation, creator of her moral, political, and martial institutions, first crowned monarch of the New World, defender of the faith, founder of the Royal Military Order of Saint Henry Christophe. So Senegal's economy is centered mostly on commodities and natural resources. So major industries are fish processing, phosphate mining, fertilizer production, petroleum refining, construction materials, ship construction and repair. Like most African nations, agriculture is major sector. So agriculture, we need all that. With Senegal producing several important cash crops, including peanuts, sugarcane, cotton, green beans, tomatoes, melons, and mangoes. Owing to its relative stability, tourism and hospitality are also burgeoning sectors. So countries wholly or partially in the Congo region: Angola, Burundi, Cameroon, Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of the Congo. So these are regions of Congo. Republic of the Congo, Rwanda, South Sudan, Tunisia, and Zambia. And a lot of these people the Jews hate. The white fake Jews hate. They call them Africans. They tell us, go back to our country, this and that. You in our damn country. You know what I'm saying? You go back up to the mountains, you Khazar. Go back to the land of Goth. Or back to the Caucasus Mountain. Or back up to the Black Sea. So the Bakongo or the Congo people, Congo hunters, so Congo mean hunters, also referred to as the Congolese, are a Bantu ethnic group who live along the Atlantic coast of Africa from Pointe-Noire, Republic of Congo, to Luanda, Angola. So those are the hunters, the Congo. Ghana mean warriors. So they are primarily defined by the speaking of Kikongo, a common language, Bantu, forms the Igbo, Hebrew. They are the largest ethnic group in the Republic of Congo. The largest ethnic group in the Republic of Congo. So agriculture. So the Bakongo cultivate cassava, banana, maize, sweet potatoes, peanuts, groundnuts, beans, and taro. Cash crops are coffee, cocoa, urena, bananas, and palm oil. So fishing and hunting are still practiced by some groups, but many Bakongo live, work, and trade in towns. So agriculture. The Bakongo, we read that. So we're done with that branch of information. Now let's go on to the next. So we pretty much went through all that. It's alright. So we're still not done yet. Let me see if we are on time. Alright, let's continue. So I'm gonna mark this down too, because I found some great names here for Dominican Republic. Boom. Alright. Thank you for your patience, y'all. Hope y'all are learning a lot. I'm gonna make sure I read everything that I had saved as a note. And later in the future, I'll sum up everything. I'll tell y'all a little bit more about my studies. But these are where the 12 tribes are at. That's where they came from. So it says right here. So Hispaniola. So Hispaniola, this is what the land looked like. As you know, that name came from Christopher Columbus. Saint-Domingue came from France. Haiti was the name the Tainos originally called Haiti, and the Haitians, when they declared their independence, renamed it Haiti. And then eventually the Spanish divided Saint-Domingue, Haiti, and turned it into Haiti and the Dominican Republic, the Haiti Republic, and the Dominican Republic. So the island in pre-Columbian times. Hispaniola is the second largest island in the Greater Antilles, with the Caribbean Sea to the south and the Atlantic Ocean to the north. So, Hispaniola, Spanish, Hispaniola, originally La Isla Española, Isla Española, which is the island of the Spanish. The name given by the European, Spanish colonizers to the entire island containing the countries Saint Domingue. So the French name for the island is Le de Saint-Domingue. Le, or whatever, de Saint-Domingue. Modern day Haiti and San Domingue. The modern day Dominican Republic, San Domingo, Santo Domingo, Santo Domingo, Santo Domingo. So after the successful Haitian Revolution, the island was renamed Haiti by the Haitians under Jean-Jacques Dessalines, after Toussaint Louverture died in jail in France. So a French spelling of the Taino name Haiti, meaning land of the mountains. Mount Zion. So alternate name for the island. So another Taino name for Hispaniola, still used in the Dominican Republic in Haiti, is Quisqueya, Creole, Quisqueya, from Quisqueya, meaning the cradle of life. This name is preferred by many, since Hispaniola is the name given by the colonizers, Christ Columbus, that nearly destroyed the native people and the culture of the land. Bohio is another frequently used name for the island. Bohio, house. So many Haitians and Dominicans alike have embarked on a campaign to eradicate the use of Hispaniola in the media and wherever else it may be encountered. Take note. So we can leave this right here. So after the French gained control of the western part of Hispaniola through the Treaty of Ryswick, the western part quickly came to overshadow the east in both wealth and population. Indeed, the population of the Dominican Republic did not overtake that of Haiti until 1970. Haitians conquered the eastern part of the island on several occasions. In the 1970s under Toussaint Louverture, and in 1821 through 1822 under Jean-Pierre Boyel, the one that destroyed everything by accepting the promise to pay note, promising to pay, and was not able to pay, and it was with interest, like a loan, a mortgage on Haiti. So now they're foreclosing and they want to get Haiti back. So these are the few things that we have left though before we finish this whole thing. We should be able to finish it off in 2 more videos. And I'm excited to read to y'all about the Islamic history with us, about what happened between Islam and us during that time, the Sahara slave trade. We already know about the West Atlantic slave trade, the triangular trade, the Gold Coast trade, and all that stuff. So when I end it off, I'm gonna go into the Book of Jubilee and show you why these people are cursed, because these enemies, because we made a promise during Noah's time to stay in our own land and not to take what's not ours. So I'll get into that very, very last. So before we finish, I got a couple of things I want to share with y'all still. This is extremely, extremely important. Halaluyahnu. Throw on some music. So alright. So we're gonna go through this slavery timeline thing. Actually, I'm gonna read that. I'm gonna read that in a different section in this segment. I'm gonna finish reading about the Haitians though and the Borican people. Boom. Bénédiction sous Haïti, net moun yo de Haïti. Tout zanzet nou n'avek grand-papa nou. En nom de Yahweh Zabawot. Yahweh existe, Yahweh se sauvem. Halaluyahnu Shafat. Daniel. Sel Yaal Kab Jijem Danim. Reme mounou. Reme tetou reme histwo. Alti tetou. Bon bala. Ou bavle ken moun an wout victoire nou navet justice nou navet liberté nou. Sou an wout la avanse ou. Soute an wout la ou nou pal krabino avec yo tout. So check out this video if you want. I'm not right now. I don't know why these people are saying they're Hebrew. They look very pale skinned. They're confused. So as you can tell, they're beautiful people, but look at their skin though. That means they've been mixed with the whites, because we were Negroes, African, blacks, not white, not Japhetic, none of that. And Hamites are usually black as hell, and Shemites are usually brown. These people are over brown. They're light brown. You can see we're not usually light brown. We go from brown to dark. Well, we do get a little bit light brown, like this girl right here. This is good brown. But this right here, like this girl right here, yeah, she's mixed with something. Everyone else like her, she's definitely whiter or lighter. So these people are not real true Taino tribes. They may be African, Taino, and European. You see? Hamite, Taino, which is Taino, and European. So African and European. So they do have African roots, but you can tell even by their hair that their hair don't look like ours. But you can still see the Indian in them though, to a degree. You know? You can see something there, right? Y'all see something? I know I see something in this chick though right here. These people right here, they look like us. They look like they potentially from Nigeria, but let's go ahead. So I'm gonna go ahead and save this too. These are short. We already know most of this stuff. I don't think we really have anything here. Boricuenos. So the word Borican is the name given by Taino Arawak Indians from the native land mass of the island of Puerto Rico. So the Tainos in that land, them Africans that was in that land, the Taino tribe, were called Borican. So translated from the Spanish, La Terre del Altivo Sur. To English means the land of the mighty Lord, the land of Al Shaddai. So the Arawak Indians spoke a broken version of Paleo Hebrew. Wow, because that's what we speak. And referred to Yahuwah, Most High, as Yah. Yah for short. So there are a lot of Hebrew Israelite camps that refer to the Most High as Yah. That shortened version has an historic root in the Caribbean. So the legacy of the Taino Indians remains in the language, customs, and culture in the islands of the Caribbean. So there are museums in Jamaica, Puerto Rico, Cuba, and other Caribbean islands dedicated to the customs of the people Tainos, Borican, or Boriconos. So We don't really need to read the rest because we read it before. So let's move on. So even they served the god called Yah too. Yah. I like this, so I'm gonna highlight it. Anu continue. Let's continue on. Be patient, my loved ones. Let's see what this says right here. All right. A lot of those Hebrew groups are wrong too, because Taino was not brought on ships. They were slaughtered on their land. They're natives. They're not us. They're African descents. Tainos were in they were the original Mayans as well. Tainos. So let me see. You can come up, baby. Come on, you can do it. Come on. Let me see what this says right here. Ooh, this looks very important. Yeah, that looks very important. Huh. Savannah mean flat land. Alright. Jamaica. Alright, we'll come back to that. So it might take like 2 or 3 more videos before we do complete this though. 2 or 3. I'm not going to be getting more notes or anything like that. That will be pretty much it on the subject. So I'm trying to learn as much as I can about my roots, my people, and where I came from and all that. And I know enough at the moment, but I can't pause now until I finish going through my notes, because there's other things that we have not heard yet. So our Taino influence, November 9th, 2012, by Sapphire Don 1, is for entertainment, educational purposes. So Jamaican culture is deeply entwined with the fibers of its history. And although this little island is a luminary within the Caribbean and the world at large, we are in fact a hugely misunderstood people. The majority of us have very little knowledge of where we are coming from, and fewer still have an understanding that our roots go way beyond the boundaries of slavery. Going back to the very beginning to our set of indigenous people, the Tainos, who were of South Central American origin, were living on this island for generations before Christopher Columbus and the Spanish arrived in 1492. So their cultural development was at its peak when the Spanish stumbled upon them because they had highly complex and organized societies. So they referred to themselves as Tainos, which meant noble, peace-loving people. So it may be said that their generosity ultimately led to their demise, as Christopher Columbus noted, quote unquote. They will give all that they do possess for anything that is given to them, exchanging things even for bits of broken crockery. They were very well built, with very handsome bodies and very good faces. Christopher Columbus was a faggot, gay. So they do not carry weapons or arms or know them. They should be good servants. Wow. So the Spanish have recorded the very first team sport as played by the Tainos of the Caribbean. This was an Armoridian rubber ball game called Batu. According to the National Park Service's National Register of Historic Places Itinerary, the first written description of the game, played with two teams and a rubber ball, appeared after Columbus' first voyage. After. So the game of ball probably came from there too. That Ben came from Africa though. And martial arts and all that. So unable to trust their eyes, the Spanish contemplated that the miraculous bouncing of the rubber ball was a result of witchcraft, because they were so stupid. The Tainos played a non-lethal adaptation of the ball game on a clay court called a bate. Many Taino villages had a bate that was also a hub for communal congregations. A court. So with the Spanish conquest, our indigenous people began a rapid decline both culturally and numerically, and were suddenly plunged towards historical erasure. The various diseases that were introduced into the New World, such as smallpox, measles, typhus, and influenza, killed thousands of natives because they had no immunity to these illnesses, like they try to do in niggas today. So in 1503, the Spanish crown began to grant encomiendas to soldiers, conquistadors, and officials. The encomienda was a legal system that was established by the Spanish crown to regulate native labor. So many Tainos died under the harsh treatment of the encomienda system, which put the natives to work in the fields and mines in exchange for protection from other tribes, like the Caribs. So this practice deviated from their conventional way of life and prevented them from cultivating the crops that had fed them for centuries. So many lost their lives as a result of starvation, and an untold number committed suicide to avoid subjugation. So by 1514, official survey estimated that 40% of Spanish men had taken Taino wives, which created a new mestizo population. So mixed race, mestizo, individuals were protected by law from being subjugated to the encomienda system because they were whiter than the blacks. So I believe we read this before. So this knowledge has motivated many native people throughout the Spanish colonies to deliberately seek to dilute their tribal identities and that of their descendants through intermarriages. So this was a desperate attempt at protecting future generations from suffering the same fate as that they had to endure. So they intermingled with the Africans and the Caribs. So through this move, the encomienda has weakened the tribal identification and ethnicity, which also had an impact on the encomiendos by diminishing the pool of available labor, because they all were turning marzico, whatever they call it, malatu, mix. So Bartolome de las Casas, a priest of Hispaniola and former encomiendoro, dedicated his life to lobbying against the encomienda system after seeing the extent to which the native people were abused. So after several failed attempts, the laws of Burgos 1512 to 13 and the new law of the Indies 1542 failed to be recognized in the face of colonial opposition by the whites. So nevertheless, the encomienda system was succeeded by the crown managed repartimiento en la hacienda. Repartimiento en la hacienda. The repartimiento was an attempt at abuse and forced labor reduction, like repartments. So this is the Spanish people and the Indians. You see, the Indians look light-skinned, almost like us. That's messed up. So picture from Codex Kingsborough showing an encomiendero abusing a Native American. The Spaniard, Portuguese punks. So under the pretense of searching for gold and other precious jewels, the vast majority of Spaniards took full advantage of their position to exploit the native population by stealing their land and wealth. So I do remember reading this, so that's cool. So Tainos were absorbed into slavery along with the Africans. So let's go ahead and cut this off. So over 600 years after the dramatic collapse of the indigenous people, the society, it is tempting to surmise that the Teno are indeed extinct. But upon closer examination, it is overwhelmingly evident that elements of their endemic culture still endure. Most of what the world considered to be authentic Jamaican stems from the culture of the Tainos. So the famous Jamaican jerk is a Taino tradition that spans millennia. Savoring the flavors of authentic Jamaican jerk is a genuine gastronomic interpretation of our Jamaican motto, out of many, one people. Because that's what that word Taino also meant too, out of many, one people. That was their motto. So the very method of grilling is a Taino tradition, aptly termed barbacoa, which eventually became barbecue. The Jamaican style of jerk stems from the Taino method of spicing agouti, rabbit, or iguana with Scotch bonnet, pepper, and allspice, pimento. So many of the fruits and vegetables that Jamaicans enjoy and profit from through agriculture were brought to Yamayi, Jamaica, by the Tainos from the mainland. So these include yucca, which is cassava, batata, which is sweet potato, maize, which is maize, corn. They have passed on invaluable knowledge on how to utilize the endemic fruits, vegetables, and animals. These include bitter cassava, from which the Tainos taught us how to strain deadly cyanide before use to make bami. So corn was ground into cornmeal, maïs moulin, which made lots of popular Jamaican delicacies like turned cornmeal, dumplings, pone, dukono, pudding, etc. from corn. So today our Jamaican people enjoy things such as pumpkin, cocoa, Christophine, beans, peppers, sweet potato, yam pie, kalalu. Oh yeah, we eat that too in Haiti, kalalu. And Indian kali for Teno pepper pot, like caliente, hot, kali, hog plum, papaya. I love that juice, papaya juice. So pineapple, sweets up, sours up, used to make a popular Sunday drink. Custard apple, locust, which is stinking toe, they call it. Guanip, guava, nazeberry, sapodilla, star apple, and calabash. All Taino native Indian roots. So our highly prized woods like mahogany, our national tree, the blue maho, the national flower of the island, lignum vitae, and so much more that we should give appreciation to our indigenous Taino people for. Halaluyahnu. So of utmost importance is our tradition of using bush medicine for common ailments. Bush medicine. So the Tainos utilize many of our native herbs in their curative remedies, and these have been passed on for centuries, but we lost it. So today when you have in our aphrodisiac Irish moss, medicinal strong back, or surasi tea, associ. Oh, they're the ones who came up with that. Surasi. That's what you call it in English. I've been looking for that for years. Wow, you see, the things your parent don't know, you'll find out on your own, right? So surasi tea, cold bush, soursop, leaf tea, known to cure cancer. Sarsaparilla. So sarsaparilla and cheni root. Remember that this practice was adopted from our very first Jamaicans. They adopted. So Teno spoke a Maypurian language, but did not have a written version. Some of the words used by them, such as barbecue, as we know, hamaka, hammock, canoa, canoe, tobacco, yucca, batata, sweet potato, and juracan, hurricane, have been incorporated into the Spanish and English language, as we know. So it is necessary to note that the myth of Taino extinction is being taught in much of our history books, when in fact the Tainos continue to live on to this very day. Hallelujah. So these indigenous people did whatever they could to ensure the survival of their nation in a time when continued existence seemed impossible, like Negroes. So those that ran away into the hills would eventually be mixed with runaway African slaves from the English plantations, forming what we know today as maroon communities. So maroons is an upgrade version or a mixed version of Taino and African mix, which you call maroon. So in these communities, most of the Taino culture is still practiced in their everyday lives. The Maroons are in fact known for being masters of jerk pork. We don't eat pork. And it is futile to deny the mixture of Maroons with Tainos through their distinct facial structures. So it is evident that in our Jamaican society, the Taino genes still stands proud despite the dilution of intermarriages with Africans, Europeans, and Indians. You were Indians, what the heck? So evidence of this is now being recognized universally as distinct Amerindian traits are cropping up amongst our people. So these include outward facial appearances such as bone structure as well as shovel teeth, a trait synonymous with Amerindians. So Jamaica still to this day honor our first people by immortalizing them on our coat of arms and by recognizing their contributions to our motto, out of many, one people. Our national symbols pay homage to their ancient traditions and culture, and today when you see a Jamaican, look closely and you might see the Amerindian imprints of a past that has left its indelible mark on our people. Definitely. I can feel the African in them. So below is a photograph of Shirley Jennis from Savannah Lamar, Jamaica. She also displays the prominent bone structure of the Tainos. Yeah, you can see it on the head and all that. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, you can feel it. You can feel the African in the arms, but the neck you can feel the Taino in it. The head shape on the top you can feel Taino in it. Just the beautiful body structure, the cheekbones, everything, Teno. But look at the nose. You can see that it's a mix, either Spaniard or white or something, and the broadness at the bottom reminds us of African, like the Olmec. So here's some more pictures. See, this one you can tell the nose is a little different, and look at the shovel teeth. It's like flat at the top in a way. And you can tell this is an African mixed with Taino, because her skin is darker. So obviously she don't have white in her. So yeah. So Jamaican Yamai Taino. So Savannah is from a Taino word Sabana, a flat land, a flat plain. So that's where that word Savannah came from. Alright, let's move on to the next thing now. Alright, we know all of this stuff now. So now we can start jumping around and look for new things. So Arawaks were sea-going people and lived chiefly off seafood. The Arawaks lived in these caves for many years. It was their only hope of survival. And they got maps over here too for you to check out little by little. Alright, we don't really need to read that. We know enough now about the Taino, Arawak, and all that. Let me see what this is right here. This may be talking about the Nigerian, all them other people, like how they were taken and things like that. So let's see what it say. While that takes a sweet old time. Let's see. Oh yeah, this one's very important, but I'll do it in the next video. This one's very important. Talks about the DNA and certain things. Yeah, this too I'll do it in a different video. Angola. Alright, so I got a few things I'm gonna do in the next video. I'm gonna just do the short parts right now. So let's see. There were cattle slaves, indentured servitude, Arab slave trade, and debt slavery. Yeah, this one's important too, but I can't read that one right now. This one's going in the next one too. Yeah, this one's extremely important. So I'm gonna save this one for part 2 as well. I mean for part 7. So while we do that, let's move on to the next. I'm gonna look for something short, and then we can touch it up right now and do the longer things later. And I still want to read y'all the Proclamation of Emancipation. So okay. Oh yeah, it's probably not gonna work. Let's see. You got it. Where we at on time? Alright. Come on, you got it, baby. They stay trying to control us too through the web. Everything's on lockdown. Come on, baby. Come on, you can do it. Alright, let's see what this is right here. Slavery in America. California. California. Next this out. So although it's round, so I wonder if this is the real map too, like, or did they jumble them up together like that so you can think there's unity. Alright, so these right here, yeah, I'll do this one in a different video too. Alright, we might, so that's the reason why I don't want to read certain things right now. So let me see. Yeah, I might end up calling it a day then, because I don't want to read certain things ahead of time. Let me see. How long is this right here? Alright. So let me see. I don't think we need anything here either anymore. We read all that. We read all that. We read all of that. Oh, that's probably where we get that color from too. Because it says right here, in October 1789, He reported that the slaves considered the new revolutionary cockade a declaration made up of red, white, and blue ribbons worn by supporters of the revolution, a signal of the manumission of the whites. The blacks all share an idea that struck them spontaneously, that the white slaves killed their masters and now free they govern themselves and regain possession of the land. In other words, the black slaves hoped to follow in the footsteps of their white predecessors, freeing themselves, killing their masters, and taking over the land. And that's what happened in Haiti. So the United States' refusal to give up slavery or the slave trade provided added ammunition to support their position. So fabulous wealth depended on slavery, as did shipbuilding, sugar refining, and a host of subsidiary industries. Wow. Alright, I'll keep this on the side for now. Let me see what this is finally. Same thing? Yeah, same thing. So I don't really need this. And I know I already got this up, I think. Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to wait for the next part. The last one. If I don't find what I'm looking for here, then pardon me. What's the name of y'all? Boom. So blacks. Boom. See what we find here. Come on, you got it, baby. Come on, you can do it. Oh, this is about Angola. Alright, but we're not going to go into that yet. Like this thing is gonna be working for me the way I want it to. So yeah, we'll continue on in the next video. Thank you so much for staying with me until here, guys. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys are learning a lot about yourselves. Until then, y'all, see y'all in the next part. We'll start to wrap everything up and share the word, y'all. Keep spreading the truth. Until then, all due praises be to Yahuwah Elohim Zabaoth in the mighty name of Yahushua HaMashiach, our Lord, King, and Savior. And luckily, we've already read that already too. So, shalom, y'all. I'll see y'all in the next part. We're getting through this quicker than I thought.